हेलो फ्रेंड्स, दिस इज़ शाहीन एंड आज मैं आप लोग को आपके उस चीज़ से रूबरू कराना चाहती हूँ, मिलाना चाहती हूँ जो आप रोज़मर्रा की ज़िंदगी में करते हैं, लेकिन आप उस पर केयर नहीं करते। कभी आप उसके बारे में सोचते नहीं। और वो चीज़ है आपका शब्द, आपका वाक्य, आपका लैंग्वेज जो आप डेली बोलते हैं, जिसके वजह से आप एक दूसरे से इंटरेक्ट होते हैं, जिसके वजह से आप सोसाइटी में रहते हैं, चीज़ों को समझते हैं और अपना अलग इंटरप्रिटेशन भी दे पाते हैं, अपनी सोच को बयां कर पाते हैं। ज़रा सोचिए कि अगर ये लैंग्वेज, अगर ये वाक्य, ये शब्द नहीं होता हमारी ज़िंदगी में, हमारे दिमाग में, तो फिर क्या होता? क्या आप सोसाइटी में रह पाते? क्या आप एक दूसरे से इंटरेक्ट हो पाते? क्या आप खुद का एक नया सोच बना पाते? अपनी फीलिंग्स को बयां कर पाते? नो, नहीं। तो ये जो लैंग्वेज है ना दोस्तों, वो चाहे उर्दू हो, इंग्लिश हो, हिंदी हो, मलयालम हो, तेलुगु हो, कुछ भी हो, वो हमारी ज़िंदगी में बहुत अहम रोल अदा करता है। हमको सोसाइटी में रहने का एक मकसद प्रदान करता है, हमें एक दूसरे से इंटरेक्ट कराता है। ये लैंग्वेज बहुत ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट है और ये आज से नहीं, ये ज़माने पहले से चलता आ रहा है। कई सदियों जब से इंसान डेवलप होना शुरू किया था, तब से ही ये चीज़ शुरू हो चुका है। लैंग्वेज जो है हमारे डेवलपमेंट में भी बहुत अहम रोल अदा करता है। सो गाइस, welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to talk about structuralism. This is the very important topic in UGC net exam point of view. Also, there is the separate unit as linguistic, and there you have to study about structuralism. So without wasting our precious time, come on, let's get started. So guys, before moving deep in structuralism topic, I would like to make you understand new criticism, by which you can easily understand what is structuralism. So let's get started. New criticism. The term was taken from John Crow Ransom in 1941 as of some same title, associated mainly with the work of Clean Brooks, Robert Penn Warren, William Wimsett, and Monroe Beardsley, R.P. Blackner, and I.A. Richards. They argued that the author's intention behind a work is far less important and knowable than the meaning generated by the language, style, and formed features of the text. So guys, here on the screen you can see he is the author, he or she is the author, and this is the work written by this author. And it is more important, the work which he wrote is more important than the background of the authors. Then the words on the page is very important rather than the background, the biography of the authors. There is no need to bring in extraneous features such as author's biography or history to understand a text. We don't need to understand what is the period of the author, what is the background of the author, what is the biography of the author. No, not at all. Only we have to take care on the text, the words written on the text, in on the page. All we need is the words on the page and meaning is contained in the text. Here you can understand that the new criticism, all those critics argued that the works are more important than the author's background. A reader should give their own interpretation according to by reading, by going through deeply on the words written on the page. So here I want to give you example just to make you understand. This is the movie Avengers. In this movie uh, we are only known of the characters' name like Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Doctor Strange, and all. We don't know even the name of the script writer, and not even the name of these heroes' real name. We don't know. Only we care on that what is the character's name and what is the action he is doing, and we start relating ourselves to these characters. Why? Because this is the surface and these characters are explaining the entire movie. not the script writer. People don't care about the script writer. Same as this, the author's gender, class, race, background, all these things are irrelevant. Rather than the works written by him. Words used in a literary work can define the entire body as well as the culture, not the poet, not the author. Alright? Works are only everything. All in all, works are all in all. Okay? Here you can see, for example, if I'm giving you an stanza of a poem, you don't know the title, you don't know the poet's name. No? Now you have to go through these lines. How vainly men themselves amaze to win the palm, the oak or base, and their incessant labors see, crowned from some single herb or tree, whose short and narrow word shade does prudently their toils upbraid, while all flowers close and trees do to weave the garland of repose. Here you can see that by going through the words of this stanza, our interpretation could be that the poet wants to say about the labor. The poet wants to show the flowers, the trees, the garden. Okay, so it is our interpretation by going through this stanza. But if we will come to know that who is the poet of this poem, then maybe it can happen that our interpretation can be changed. No, I was wrong, because the author is belonging to this age, so this stanza's meaning can be this one. Our interpretation can be changed. So here the new critics argued that no, we don't have to care about authors, about background, poets background. Only we have to care about these things, what the words are explaining, what the sentences are explaining. So here you can see how only men themselves amaze. This is giving you the meaning. How it is giving you the meaning? This is the language, the English language, and it has the meaning. Why it has the meaning? What is the reason behind it? Because it is following the structure. All we speak, all we whatever we speak or whatever we do in our life, that's based on the structure. If we won't follow that structure, then maybe our language will be meaningless. We can't convey our feelings to other. No one could understand what we want to say if we won't follow this structure. There is this structure. Okay, for living the life there is the structure, and we all people have to follow that structure. And by this, the very name structure, the structuralism came to the picture. So this is the introduction, and I took it from Britannica Encyclopedia on internet. You can also go through the internet and have this for your answer sheet, for your answer. So structuralism and linguistics, any one of several schools of 20th century linguistics committed to the structuralist principle that a language is a self-contained relational structure, the elements of which derive their existence and their value from their distribution and oppositions in the text or discourse. This principle was first stated clearly for linguistics by the Swiss scholar Ferdinand de Saussure, 1857 to 1930. This Ferdinand de Saussure was the great scholar in Sanskrit also. By there he achieved many he studied a lot about the sign, about the words, about the sign, and you can say that he was the founder of structuralism. Saussagean structuralism was further developed on somewhat different directions by the Prague School, Gluzmatics, and other European movements. A petty summary of structuralism literary criticism is provided by Jonathan Kohler in his book on Barthes, in which he says that structuralism is an attempt to describe the language of literature in linguistic terms so as to capture the distinctiveness of literary structures, and structuralism is the development of a narratology that identifies the constituents of narrative and their various combinations. Structuralism is an attempt to show how literary meaning depends upon the quotes produced by prior discourses of a culture, and it promotes analysis of readers' role in producing meaning. So, structure produces meaning through the language. Structure is that thing which produces the meaning. Without a structure, if we will say something, then we don't have the meaning of that word, of that sentence. That would be meaningless. So, here I talked about Ferdinand de Saussure. So, now we will see that what Ferdinand moves towards structuralism. So guys, Saussure. Saussure, to define structuralism, he makes different kinds of moves, and in that move, the first of all, the move was the langue and parole. It was divided into two important components, that is the langue and parole. So what is langue? For example, here I want to give you example of computer. In computer, we type something and the computer processes in it and it gives the output on the screen. Same as that, the words we assume from the society or by knowing things, the word processes in our mind, that is the langue, and it gives how we speak, that is the output, that is parole, how the way of speaking is parole, and the processes done in our mind to make a sentence, to produce a meaning of the language, to combine the words in a way which can be produce a meaning, and that process is called the langue. It happens in our mind. We just combine the words in our mind and we speak in a way that it makes a meaning, and how we speak, the way of speaking is can be termed as parole, and the process in our mind to combine the words is called the langue. Same as computer, how computer does. The set of langue is the set of rules by which we combine words into sentences. It is the process happens in our mind. Use certain words in certain ways, rules which are rarely altered and which all users of a language follow. Saussure termed it as langue. Langue is like a mathematical table also. The tables are a system of rules and tools for use. And here, parole, everyday speech where we use words in particular context, this is called parole. Alright, here you can see, you can understand this. And now, this is the most important topic in structuralism, that is the sign. There are two important terms used in structuralism, and those two terms are combined in single word, that is the sign. The first one is the signifier and the signified. This is the first concept of Saussure, Ferdinand de Saussure. So what is signifier? Signifier is the sound or word spoken by a person. Alright, and you can say it is the synonym of a word, any word. Like I'm telling a boy, a girl, a cat, a dog, an apple, a mango, and all. So, and what is signified? Signified is the image or concept made in our mind by listening these particular words. If I am talking about an apple, then an image comes in our mind that, oh, there is the shape of apple having the seeds on in the center. It is of round shape. It is of round shape, so apples are like this. If I'm talking about mango, then the picture of mango, the concept of mango comes in our mind, and that concept, that image is called signified, and the word mango is called the signifier. Alright, got my point? If I'm talking about the table, then the structure, the concept, the image of table comes in our mind, that is called signified, and the word, the table, is called signifier. This is very easy, signifier and signified. Signifier is the word, signified is the image of that word. In a very short sentence, you can say like this. Alright, let's move. So what is the relationship between signifier and signified? Here we can see this. The first relationship is arbitrary relationship between signifier and signified. The concept of meaning of a word can change according to the cultural construction. So guys, for example, if I am talking about an apple, alright, India, it is an apple like a round shape fruit. It can be in England that if I'm telling an apple, then English people will think that this is the mango. It can happen. If I'm talking about the table in India, then English people can think like table means the chair. All right. So the words remain the same. Maybe the concept, the image can be changed according to the culture construction, according to the period. And you can see that many new words attached in our dictionary nowadays, like there is double meanings are there in today's context, like in previous days or 18th century or 19th century, if we would say that machine, the word machine, then the picture of machine comes in our mind, that is the silai machine. But if today's in this era, if we will say the word machine, then people think that what kind of machine is that, the computer, is that the silai machine or some other machines, because there is a lot of machines are there in this period. So the concept can be changed, signified can be changed, but the signifier will remain the same. Signifier remain the same, but the signified can be changed according to the cultural construction. So this is called the arbitrary relationship between signifier and signified, and that's why as signifier remain always the same, it is more important, it is more valuable than the signified. Okay. And the next is the binary relationship between words. What is this? Defining a word or thing by contrasting it to its opposites. A table is a table because it is not a chair. If I want to make other people understand that this is the bottle, okay, so how can I make him understand that this is the bottle because this is not a glass, this is the table because this is not a chair, this is the pen because this is not the book, by contrasting it to its opposites. So this is called binary relationship between words, binary relationship between signifier and signified. All right, what could be the conclusion? The conclusion is the word language on the page is far superior than the background of the author. Alright, you got this point. And this language needs an structure to convey the meaning to others. If we want to make someone understand what we want to say, so we have to use a proper structure. And this structure amalgamates people. Saucer's ideas were also appropriated by the linguists and the literary critics in Europe and Russia. In Russia, a mode of literary critical analysis developed around theories of language and come to be known as Russian formalism. So guys, I hope you understood it in a short way. I would like to make you understand again that what saucers want to say. What Saussure or new critics want to say? They argued that the words on the page is very important, is far important than the author's biography. A reader shouldn't care about the author's background or biography. He or she should give their own interpretation. It can have many interpretation, that is called hermeneutics. A reader can give their own interpretation, many interpretation, not by watching the author's background, but by reading what is written on the page, the words, by watching, by reading the words on the page, and that word convey the meaning. That word or sentence can define the culture as well. That sentence can define the period. That word, that sentence on the page can define the entire body in the poem or any work of art. So this is This was structuralism. Now you can see that how much it is important, and there are many critics of this also, so you can go through those critical um, context too for structuralism. And if you will leave a comment to give a critic's remark to this, so I would surely give you that. So this is enough for today. If you liked my video, then please subscribe to my channel. See you soon. Take care. Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.